But check it out, I've caught Flipper in captivity. Well, don't tell SeaWorld, because I got my hands on a BYD Dolphin extended range. It's loaded with tech, and we'll get to all that in a sec. Right now, let's talk price and range. This machine will set you back 49 grand after the rebate, and for that, this marine mammal will do 427 Ks on a charge. But there is currently a sea of competition regarding affordable electric cars right now. So, does this Dolphin have what it takes to tip the scales? I know that's a fish joke. This is a Dolphin. Work with me here. Let's crack into it. We have much to cover today. Let's start with interior design, and while I'm no dolphinologist, I can see some very aquatic themes going on here. For example, you've got 3 interior color options with the extended range. You have black and gray, which is very traditional. That's more like the Maui Dolphin. Then of course you've got the pink and gray, which is more like the Amazon Dolphin. And then you've got this one, the black and blue, which is not so much a dolphin, more my bruised and battered heart. Regardless, it is a welcome change from the tired black and grey dashboards I'm used to, some of them as depressing as Britain in the 70s. But not with the Dolphin. Sure, the interior is colourful and creative and quirky, and I really like that, but it's also got gimmicks. Look at this 12.8-inch central display, which spins on its axis. Look at this! Yes, I know that's a gimmick, but I don't care. That is cool. Not only that, it's quick. In a lot of cars in the more affordable price category, some of the screens can have more lag than a US senator giving a speech, but not this one. Look how fast that is. That is quick. Look, instant. That's impressive. Of course, you also get Appalachian CarPlay and androgynous auto, but while the Apple is cabled, unfortunately, the Android is not. It is wireless. That's not bad. Well done, BYD. Also on the gadget list, as standard, are seated heats in both the front seats, which are also fully adjustable electronically. And of course, as standard, you get what's right above me, that massive panoramic roof, which is awesome and lets a lot of light into this interior. Other stuff you get as standard, wireless phone charging. You also get a particulate matter filter included in every Dolphin. You also get a 360-degree bird's eye camera system, which is great because it makes use of that massive screen, and let's be honest, the rear window is a little bit small in this car. Plus, you also get speed sign detection, comes up here on the little display, and what's really cool about this display is that because it's mounted to the steering column, it doesn't matter how high or low or in or out you have your steering wheel, which is fully adjustable as you can see, it never obscures the screen, so you'll always see all the information you need on here. Another gadget you get as standard in the Dolphin is a heat pump, which is great for increasing your range in wintertime, really improves your efficiency. But perhaps my favorite gadget of all is this vehicle to load adapter, which is included in the price of every single BYD Dolphin, and it lets you turn the car into a giant 4-wheel battery bank to power your appliances. Great if you want to go camping and be one of those annoying Auckland campers that takes their big screen and coffee machine with them, or on a more practical level, you can use it to save your bacon if you lose power due to a climate-related power cut, as we found out when we took a BYD Atto 3 to a customer in need who'd lost power after a cyclone. They were able to get their water pump running again, they were able to cook their food, get their fridge going, and a lot of people used to say, well, what are you going to do in an emergency with one of those electric cars? Now I ask, what would you do in an emergency if you don't have one? Seriously, vehicle to load adapters, they can be a literal lifesaver. Now at this point you may be wondering, is this just a giant advertisement? Because I've been praising this car a lot, and don't worry, there will be a list of complaints coming up, so stay tuned for that. But right now let's talk exterior styling, and to be fair, it is not the most radically designed vehicle on the road. It kind of looks like, well, imagine me with wheels. I'm also not a big fan of the whole life coachy build your dreams logo emblazoned across the back. And a fun fact about the BYD Atto 3 is that many owners remove that from their cars because they think it looks a bit cringy, and many BYD suppliers in Western markets now offer it without the Build Your Dreams logo on the back, but not in the case of the Dolphin because it is behind that clear plastic cover, so you'd better get used to living with Build Your Dreams emblazoned on the back. But that's okay because the whole rear design of that taillight, it's worth it. Look how cool that is, and it lights up at night. It looks fabulous. I really like that rear tail light cluster design. Another design cue I quite like about this car are the indentations in the doors. I quite like them because it makes the car look a little less boring. Same goes with the wheels. It's got 17-inch wheels, which, look at that, they're actually color-coded to the body. That I really like. And To be honest, without those design cues, I fear the car could suffer from looking a little bit too sensible. But if you're using this as a family car and you've got kids in the back, let's be fair, sensible is what you want. And let's talk sensible right now. Starting with sensible family stuff like the space in the back. It's got loads of room. The rear seat, as you can see, is 128 centimeters wide. Plus, it's got 2 ISOFIX locations on each end of the rear seat. It's also got a big fold-down armrest. It's actually quite a wide fold-down armrest as well, with cup holders built in. And of course, you can't go past that massive flat floor. You can only get that with an electric car. There's no exhaust tunnels, no transmission tunnels. Nice and flat, just makes the car feel more spacious. On the subject of space, let's talk boot space, and it has a 345-litre rear boot, which as you can see is just big enough for a fairly pasty potato enthusiast. But if you put those seats down, you suddenly have 1,310 litres of space, which is a lot, but not enough to lie down fully, so if you're going to go camping, you better take a tent. However, one little complaint about space is that once you pop the bonnet, you might expect to see a fartment or front compartment, but no, there isn't. You maybe could jam in a small bag of potatoes in there, but otherwise you're going to have to chuck everything in the boot. While we're on the subject of early complaints, let me also add that there is no one-pedal driving. I'm rolling to a stop right now with regen on maximum, and no, it's not enough. I gotta press the brake. Oh, there's another little problem I've noticed, is that because it's got eco tires, it struggles putting that 150 kilowatts to the road. And for most people, that's not going to be an issue because you're not going to drive like an idiot like me. You're going to drive sensibly, right? However, if you do like spirited driving, you may want to put new shoes on this car. Overall though, you get the idea. It's gadget packed, it's feature filled, it costs basically nothing to run. It seems great for family applications and city-based applications. First impressions are really, really positive, as you can see. But what's it like on the highway? Well, for that, we've got to take it on a proper long-distance drive. And let the road test begin. Yes, we are leaving Auckland on a 276-kilometre pilgrimage to Northland, to a town which is famous for a particular dolphin. I'll explain that in a sec. Now, this is going to be a good test because it's a long-range road test. It's going to test all the highway features. It's going to test the cabin comfort and, of course, the ride quality. Right now, let's talk range. This car has an official WLTP range of 427 k's per charge, but that's not often realistic in New Zealand conditions. What I like to do is take that WLTP range, which I like to think stands for way less than predicted, and then take 15% off, and that is your real-world New Zealand range. So it'll be interesting to see how close this gets to that. As for the pilgrimage destination, Opanoni, it is synonymous with happy dolphins. Yes, it was the home of Oppo, the friendly dolphin, back around 1955, and there's some great footage at Ngātaonga Archives of New Zealand, and my plan was to get permission to show you that footage, but I couldn't get permission in time. However, don't worry, because the special effects department at Ecotricity has spared no expense in recreating this scene in the style of Peter Jackson, so you won't be able to tell the difference. Brace yourselves.
Mummy, look at the dolphin!
You're welcome. Roadworks are over, we're back up to speed. I've just set the adaptive cruise for 100 k's an hour, so it's going to keep the distance automatically, the vehicle in front. Now, it does have lane keeping assist, but it's still in its early stages and it is a bit twitchy when I tried it. I'm not going to give BYD a hard time about that because they're aware of it and it will improve very soon. But now we can settle in for a comfortable road trip, and I can tell you about some tech specs of the car, starting with the electric motor. It has a 150 kilowatt motor with 310 newton meters of torque, which is driving the front wheels. And you might be thinking, wait, that sounds really similar to the electric motor in the BYD Atto 3, and well, it's the same thing. Same goes for the battery. This also has the same 60 kilowatt hour battery you'll find in the Atto 3 extended range. However, because this car is slightly lighter than the Atto 3, because it's slightly smaller, you'll find that it has slightly better performance. Slightly better 0 to 100 time of 7 seconds officially instead of 7.3. However, I would like to see if I can beat that. Stay tuned for that. As for the battery itself, it's interesting. If you're a batteryologist, you'll enjoy this. It has an LFP battery comprising long strips, which makes it easier to produce, cheaper to produce, easier to cool, and it's a pretty hardy battery, as I found out through this footage that I stole from BYD. They did a nail test showing the difference between a typical NMC battery, which once you put a nail through it, as you can see, the voltage explodes, the battery explodes, it's basically useless. But look what happens when they did the same test with the BYD Blade battery. Look at it, the voltage barely changes, the temperature only increases by a couple of degrees, and basically you can carry on driving even though you've effectively just shot your battery. Plus, considering the BYD batteries, they don't have nickel or cobalt in them, they're much more ethical. And it's stuff like this that I really like, because it means that the anti-electric car people on Facebook, they really don't have any ammunition left. They still hate electric cars, but now they can't quite articulate why, and it's bloody delicious. And now that we're in the countryside at last here in beautiful Northland, I can list some small complaints I have about this vehicle. This is the part you've been waiting for. Okay, first of all, I should point out the cabin noise at 100 on coarse chip roads is absolutely fine. However, at low speed, that's where the noise gets annoying. The low speed noise generator, there's no other way to say it, it's awful. And you've got three options. You've got this option, then you've got this option, and then if you really want to annoy your neighbors, you've got this option. Now I know what you're thinking, can't I just turn it off? No, sorry, it's hardwired into the car. Besides, if I were to show you how to disconnect the speaker, I'd get in a bit of trouble, as I did when I did the same thing with the Atto 3 review, in which I purposefully showed you how not to disconnect the speaker and how you mustn't ever do it. So don't do it, and if you do, don't film yourself doing it. Another little complaint I have is one I mentioned earlier. The rear window is really small, it makes reversing a little difficult, but as I mentioned, the reversing camera system here is so good it's generally not much of an issue. Next complaint on the list are the tyres. They are eco tyres, not high performance tyres. They're designed to maximize efficiency, which means that if you like driving in a more spirited fashion, you're gonna want to change those linglongs for something a bit more sporty. It's the same with shoes. If you don't like your shoes, change them. But enough whinging, let's find some corners and throw this suspiciously comfortable car into them to see how it fares. Okay, so the car's in sport mode, the steering is set to sport mode as well. Let's see how it handles these corners. I'm not expecting amazing things because it is a ridiculously comfortable car and I feel like it is more at home in the city. That being said, because it has a really low center of gravity, like the battery's only barely 18 centimeters off the ground, feels really sure-footed. It's no Polestar or Tesla Model 3 on the corners, but at the same time, those vehicles do have quite firm suspension and it can jar your bones. This is a bit more of a happy compromise. Although I should point out, you can be misled because of the car's more compact dimensions. You could think that it's very small and light and agile. No, it still has a lot of mass. It's still just over 1.6 tons, this little hatchback. And you feel that when you hit a bump. It does move around a bit. And it makes me wonder how the standard range model will handle in comparison, because it'll have much less mass. Will it handle better or will it be the same? Stay tuned, because I will be getting my hands on the standard range model, and I will also be comparing that to the entry-level MG4. So that's going to be an interesting video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss that video. It's gonna be a big one, I reckon. I also want to do a quick thank you to those of you who watch these videos and enjoy them, but also see what's happening in the news and have decided to do something about it by joining Ecotricity. Ecotricity is New Zealand's only certified climate positive electricity provider. That means by joining Ecotricity, which is as easy as a couple of mouse clicks, you are helping to turn back the clock on climate change. It sounds too good to be true, but it's real and it's here, and everyone at Ecotricity, including me, is really hell-bent on cutting carbon. You can join the good fight yourself, ecotricity.co.nz. Also, the electricity is really affordable because it's only from wind, hydro and solar. There is no downside to signing up, so do it now. Oh, what a view! Check that out! Honestly, we live in paradise, don't we? We've got to protect this. You guys got to join Ecotricity, seriously. That's insane. Okay, let's talk efficiency now. Now, the official efficiency stats for this car, 15.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. How close have I got to that in the real world? Let's find out. Ah, look at that. 14.8 kilowatt hours, even though I had some fairly spirited driving just before. That's not bad. Okay, all right, enough talk about stats and figures. Let's get this thing down into the Opononi township, see if we can find any remnants of that once famous dolphin. And there he is. And there you have it. We've arrived to Opononi and the dolphin has arrived to its spiritual home of Oppo, the friendly dolphin. Right, I'm gonna grab some tasty potato-based snacks, and in the meantime, let me give you a spud score.
And the spud score begins with performance, which immediately gets 8 potatoes out of 10 because look at this. The official 0 to 100 time is 7 seconds, but I did it in 6.5, and it'd go even faster with grippier tyres, which puts it into legit hot hatch territory, and I did not expect that. Next is handling, and on our bumpy roads at higher speeds, that softer suspension wallows a little, and the tyres are pretty average, so I'm giving it 5 out of 10. But it makes up for it in comfort, easily getting 7 out of 10, because in the city and the motorways, it's like being carried by angels on a silent cloud. Efficiency is next, and I'm giving it 7 spuds because despite my enthusiastic driving, my earlier estimations were off. Perhaps it's the small dimensions, but this Dolphin seems quite capable of swimming up to 400 km per charge in most conditions. Not bad. Gadgetry is next. It's got plenty and it's all included, from the vehicle to load adapter to the heat pump, the massive rotating display. It even comes with a handy little seatbelt cutter and window smasher, so I'm giving it 8 out of 10 potatoes there. But what about value? Well, it's not the cheapest EV you can buy, and BYD state that they're a premium brand. However, looking at all the electric competition, it still has more bang for buck than many other more expensive EVs I've reviewed, so I'm giving it 7 out of 10. Charging is next, and if you charge at home with the granny charger that comes with the car, then a full charge is about 35 hours. Yikes. So go and get yourself a 7 kilowatt charger like this one that I have in my own garage. Follow the link in the description to see this EVNEX charger in action. It's designed and built right here in New Zealand, and it's one of the best chargers you can buy, filling your Dolphin from flat to full overnight every night. For road trips, however, you've got loads of options with ChargeNet, which is New Zealand's biggest charging provider. There's hundreds of rapid chargers all around the country, and they are doubling their network within 3 years. A 50 kilowatt rapid charger from ChargeNet will charge your Dolphin from 20% to 80% in about 45 minutes, whereas a 300 kilowatt hyper rapid charger like this will do the same in about 35 minutes. Now that's not an epic charging time in 2023, so I'm giving the Dolphin a fairly average 5 out of 10 potatoes when it comes to charging speed. Let's talk style now, and I'm giving it a very high 7 out of 10 potatoes because it's incredibly different, at least on the inside. It's funky, it's colourful, it's bold, and I love it when car makers step out of their grey worlds to offer us something interesting. I mean, even if you don't like it, you have to admire BYD's audacity. Good on them. Is it fit for purpose though? Well, it does a great job as a city car. It's super comfortable and relaxing to drive. The seat height is superb if you don't have great mobility. It's really easy to park with its big display and great exterior cameras, so I'm giving it 8 out of 10 also for its decent battery warranty of 8 years or 160,000 Ks. And while you can get a tow bar fitted, at this moment it's officially only for hauling bikes, but rumours are that the tow bar will have an official half-ton rating very soon. And lastly, the most important metric is potato storage capacity, and I was very surprised to discover an excellent PSC of 73, which is a staggering 55.3% increase on the Atto 3, so I'm awarding the Dolphin 8 out of 10 potatoes, which gives the car a total spud score of 70. Not bad.
And there you have it. That is the BYD Dolphin here in its natural habitat in Opanoni. It's a decent little family car. It's fun to drive and it costs nothing to run. I think it's pretty friendly too. I think I'll call it Oppo.